We are pedaling in search of renewable energy. We are energy, and we need energy. We long to find a balance that is economically sustainable. Many experts worldwide believe that we have already reached peak oil, and that we shall therefore see a decline in the global production of our main source of energy. However, the demand for energy is increasing year after year. Whether or not there is oil for everybody, climate change arising from the consumption of fossil fuels is a global concern.
Ask India or China to stop developing, and the way forward is based on energy. That would be utopian. It would not be feasible. Consequently, what the market needs is to find alternative sources of energy that will complement in a first stage and subsequently replace those that are more harmful to the planet.
A Spanish company, AlgaEnergy, is fully committed to what may become the best energy solution for the future: microalgae. We are perhaps witnessing a formula that will transform an uncertain future into another where only clean energy is conceivable. Let me dream then. How can it change our society?
Well, there are many ways in which our society can change. For example, not waiting for disasters to happen and taking measures in advance. That's one way of changing. In a way, this is what we are doing by developing innovative production systems that future generations will probably see as traditional.
In the search for an alternative to our dependence on oil, biofuel obtained from land plants presents several disadvantages that microalgae do not. But what are these organisms like?
They are photosynthetic organisms. They are very small, in the order of thousandths of a millimeter, and capable of taking CO2 from the atmosphere just as a plant would, releasing oxygen and generating their own biomass. They're like a plant, but on a smaller scale.
Where can these microalgae be found?
Microalgae can be found anywhere, in particular in the oceans, in marine ecosystems. And there are from 40 to 60,000 different species.
Microalgae and plants are the key players in CO2 consumption. They are the only living organisms capable of using CO2 as the basic element for their survival. From that CO2, they generate their own organic matter, which they use to grow and develop, and that organic matter contains products that are of interest to humans. First of all, microalgae are beneficial for the environment because they are the main inhabitants of the ocean and therefore responsible for maintaining the oxygen atmosphere that we need in order to survive.
In a way, I could say that we are here talking thanks to microalgae. Why? Because microalgae provide us with most of the oxygen we need to breathe. But they are also the first link in the food chain. Consequently, from a certain point of view, we owe them our lives. And what is more, they are going to change our lives. And in the near future, they will probably revolutionize the biofuel sector.
While the single crop farming of soya, maize or palm trees intended for the production of biodiesel and bioethanol requires water and cultivable land, the use of these aquatic plants represents a sustainable alternative in the medium to long term.
The defining element of these second-generation biofuels would be that they are obtained from plants that do not compete with the provision of food. Right now, most biofuels on the market are derived from maize, soybean, sunflower. Plants that generate carbohydrates or oils that humans can use for food. One of the great advantages of microalgae with regard to other plants is their rapid growth rate. These are very small organisms, similar to bacteria, that have a very short reproduction period, in the order of hours or 1 day at most. Their ability to generate biomass is therefore much greater than that of any plant, which also need to be farmed on large tracts of land and require a constant supply of water. Microalgae grow in reactors that can be installed almost anywhere, provided the necessary conditions concerning light and temperature are available, in such a way that they would not compete with agricultural land or with crops that provide humans with food, and they would not have the same water and nutrient requirements as the former. Their production requirements would, therefore, be less expensive, and in any case, productivity would be much higher.
As long as part of the population of this planet does not have access to food, it is morally reprehensible to earmark a single hectare to produce biofuel for cars used in the developed world, for countries that have cars that need biofuel.
It is funny, because what you were saying before about palm, maize and sunflower oil, it was as if you were cooking an African dish, fufu, wasn't it? Can microalgae be found in Africa too?
Africa is a continent with an excellent chance of becoming a production center of biodiesel, biopetrol, biofuels, because it has really significant irradiance conditions. We will have to make an effort to change other types of measures that are established and that need to be removed, such as geopolitical interests and economic interests. Because what we can achieve with microalgae is to open an oil well where today there isn't one.
Listening to you speak, you always seem to have a social comment, a social concern and concerns about the planet. Since when have you been concerned about these issues?
One gets up in the morning and goes to work. Whether there is more CO2 in the atmosphere or not is not your personal concern. However, it ends up becoming a concern over time because all the media, television, radio, the press or magazines is warning that there is a problem. But the concern is not so much about the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, but about the consequences caused by the excess of this harmful gas. For example, climate change is linked to an excess of CO2 in the Earth's atmosphere, and its dramatic consequences are well known. It is clear that within 50 years, humanity is going to have a serious problem, which is the lack of proteins. There are some microalgae, more specifically Anabina is one of them, that display a great veracity in attracting CO2 and store lots of protein.
The very biomass of the organism can serve as food. In fact, ancient civilizations such as the Aztecs used microalgae for food, and that biomass can be used to obtain compounds for cosmetics and for the pharmaceutical industry. Any of these compounds could be obtained from microalgae.
Recent research has found that certain properties that microalgae have could make them very useful in the future.
The ultimate goal is to obtain biofuel in a cost-effective way, and this is a matter of time and talent.
We have a lot of information on microalgae and how to handle them, but we do not have cultivation systems that are sufficiently economical and cost-effective as to make the price of the final product obtained from microalgae attractive.
What would you say to young people who want to change in their lives, or to change the world, or who think it is not possible?
I believe that young people today have enough information to reach the conclusion that it is not impossible to change everything. I think everything can be changed. It is a question of will. It is a matter of determination, of imagination.
Algae that can be transformed into fuel while also consuming CO2. There cannot be any doubt that there is a path toward an energy sustainable planet.